I'm going up another level, cause back then I really didn't know no better.
All right. Welcome to CCNY Creative Collection. We here with Miss Amy Allure. What's up, everybody?
How's everybody today?
Hey everyone, I'm here.
Feeling good, feeling great, feeling blessed.
Yeah, so this is Creative Collection here, and we decided to get extra creative today, and let art be a part of what we're doing because we definitely feel like we value art in many different ways. So we figured it makes sense to bring you up here and just dig into the actual art of drawing and etc. and how it affects people and everything like that. So we just decided to take part in that.
Okay, well, thanks for having me.
So this episode is going to be called Art is Therapy, and because we feel like art is therapeutic and we feel like it needs to be covered, it needs to be expressed because it is an important part of our lives.
Right.
So we're gonna get started. We got some questions for Amy here. All right, salute to all the sponsors. We appreciate y'all. All right, so Miss Amy, before we get into the questions, we like to get the people understanding who you are, what you've done. Give a little breakdown if you want.
Okay, so thank you for having me. I'm excited. A little bit about me. So my name is Amy. Some call me Amy Allure. I am an artist. I'm also an educator. I'm an activist, and I curate different events. And I'm also an owner of Allure Art Studio in Hollis, Queens. I'm actually a Queens native. I've been in Queens my whole life, and I started out as an elementary school teacher for many years, even though I loved to do art, but I focused on teaching. And then as I was going to different art spaces, I just realized that I always have to go to Brooklyn or go to Harlem to do like something really creative, even to go to an art show. So I just started kind of drafting what it would look like to open up my own space. So I actually opened Allure Art Studio, which is on 197th and Jamaica Avenue. I opened it in April of 2019. And here at the studio, I host a lot of different paint events for kids and adults. We host art shows here, and just different people just rent out the space also to do either workshop or like podcast recording, photo shoots, birthday dinners. So anything creative. It's a very cool creative arts intimate spot for that. And since being here at the studio, I actually left teaching full time. So now I'm a full time entrepreneur here. And that's been since June of last year. So it's been an exciting journey, but I've done many other things like in regards to my art. I've been in a lot of different art shows throughout Brooklyn, Harlem, Queens, and I'll be in Miami Art Basel next month for the first time. And I actually was a featured artist to paint the Black Lives Matter mural on Jamaica Avenue. Last was that I think 2020. And yeah, just done a lot of things. And I'm really big on just getting everybody to tap into their creativity. It's not even just about painting or drawing, but just knowing that everybody is an artist and everybody has something really dope that they need to tap into to create that's different from anything that anyone has ever seen. So whatever I can do to help with that, if that's to start out with getting them to experiment with painting, but having them to just tap into their creativity so they can do something really amazing.
Yeah.
So that's me.
Honestly, that's amazing. I
Right.
think just showing that you got a lot of things on your belt and you just use them so well. Being an educator, I can imagine being an educator, what it looks like being an educator and being into art and being a creative and stuff like that and blending it. I'm sure you got those cross ideas that they come together and it shows some type of alignment for you. So I can imagine how much experience you have just doing those type of different things.
Yeah, definitely. I always would try to. I'll say this: when I was teaching, so I taught first and second grade for 8 years, and during that time, I didn't really have them do like art things, but I definitely push them all to be creative and to just like have their own thoughts and their own ideas. And I hated when they were like robotic or copying other people's ideas. So that was like the biggest push for me, was really like inspiring them to feel really confident. That's the biggest thing, was building confidence through being creative and just like celebrating them for coming up with something different or doing something a new way. Because, you know, as adults, a lot of us just kind of sit in what we see, and it's tough to really trust that if you have a cool idea that you should really step out on it.
Right. One thing I noticed is that when you're creative and you creating, that's when you're most alive. You know, that's when you're most alive. Just the
Mm-hmm.
fundamentals behind it and things like that. It just gets you going. It makes you happy. You know, and it's also bringing purpose to your life, because when you're creating, you're either expressing your pain, you're either showing your growth, you're showing your spiritual growth, you're showing something in your creativity. If you look into it, for the most part, when people are
Mm-hmm.
creating, you see something out of it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
Definitely.
that's really nice what you're doing.
Definitely.
Thank
That's a big
you.
deal. It's a big deal because it was really, I want to say this, it was really nothing for these kids to do during the pandemic. And Amy was open the entire time with safety measures and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But she gave these kids hope. And let's be clear.
Aw.
These kids didn't have anything to do, and my daughter was driving me crazy. And how I kept driving by this beautiful art shop. It was glowing. It was the only thing glowing during the pandemic. Everything else was gray. Everything else was dead. Everything else was dry, closed. And you see this beautiful shop on the corner with neon lights, and it's like bedazzling. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, mommy, that's an art shop. Oh my gosh, I want to go. I want to go. And I'm just driving up and down. Shout outs to Queens. Like, that's a big thing in Queens. Y'all need
Yeah,
to check out
Yeah.
QCN.
Amy Allure Studio. And I went, and she blessed my daughter, and she had these workshops with these children that was just stuck and didn't have anything to do and couldn't even socialize with anyone. And that was like a meeting grounds for them to really express and go, therapeutic for them to create. And then I had her birthday party there. She also does birthday
Mm-hmm.
parties. So yes, it was so nice. And thank you, Amy. And I did my aunt's retirement party there.
Yes, I
Yeah,
missed it, but I heard that it was lit. So,
it was so nice. Yes, and shout out to Brooklyn. They came. I brought the whole Brooklyn
mm-hmm.
out to Queens. It was very nice. It was so nice. And your
Mm-hmm.
studio was just like set up like it's like already the way we don't expect it. When you walk inside, you know how you gotta decorate and everything. It's already decorated. That's the best part.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
that is big. Like I really
Thank
appreciate that.
you. Thanks
Yeah,
so much. I definitely appreciate that.
yeah, I haven't even seen that much, but I saw some of the pictures and I was just like, nah, it looks nice, and it looks really like, I know you took your time putting the aesthetic together. Like, you know how you look at something like, nah, that aesthetic is, they ain't just get up and just throw that
Mhm.
together. They did that.
Right.
So
And she painted me a
Yeah.
tag on spot. Yes, support. Yes, support. She painted on spot the bag. It was so pretty. It was so nice. I was like, you did this on spot? Y'all, I cannot believe it. The talent that you have is amazing. And
Thank
congratulations
you.
on you just had an interview with the news, right?
Yes, yes, yes. I was on Pix 11 for an art show that we did here. It was called Black Men Shine, and we do different themed art shows depending on what's going on for the month. And for our art show, the artists that we find, they get to keep their art up on the walls of Allure for an entire month, possibly like a month and a half. So they have a residency here. And we were thinking about what to do for June, and because of Father's Day and then Juneteenth, we did Black Men Shine, and the only artists that we included were Black men, and they had to show a piece that represented what Black Men Shine means to them. And we actually got a lot of traction, people coming and checking it out, and someone reached out to me from Pix 11 to really feature it. So I got to talk about the art show and just why it's so special. And then also I got to talk about just what I do with the kids now, because I actually go into the schools and do paint therapy with different kids at different schools. So as like a DOE vendor. So it was cool to be on the news with that. Yeah.
Yeah, making
That is
Queens
dope.
proud. This is making Queens proud because
Okay.
we didn't have no art studio. Like you said, we had to keep going to Brooklyn. I was enjoying Brooklyn for stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
we definitely had to keep
Like,
going to Brooklyn. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Well,
was
now y'all
proud
can
of
just
that.
come out to Queens, come out to Southside Jamaica or Hollis, come out, support. Y'all could definitely, y'all gonna enjoy the experience because it's not just a shop. It's not just, you know what I'm saying? It's an experience when you come in there.
yeah.
Definitely.
All right, so that was the introduction right there. A nice introduction. So, Squeaky, you want to start it off, or
You can start off you can start the first question.
Okay. Okay, so you see. All right. We see you put together a beautiful vibe together for the people through art and creative expression. How does this bring purpose into your life, and how do you feel it has affected others?
I know that I truly believe that everybody has something alluring about them. So that's why I named the studio Allure Art Studio. And your allure is your ability to powerfully charm, attract, entice, bring people into who you are and something amazing about you. And I feel like my purpose is really to help other people tap into whatever that allure is about them. So we kind of have a tagline of what's your allure? And even at the end of different events, I'll have people stand up and kind of share what their allure is. Like, what do they do? What's their business? What's special about them? And encourage everybody to network with each other. Because I know for me, my allure is through art and through teaching. I know when I was teaching, I was a master teacher. Like I would have people come to my classroom all the time and observe me. But I never really tapped into my art until I started at 11, but I didn't really take it seriously until I was 30. So that really spoke to me and helped me to recognize my purpose. So anybody that comes in here, the real is I want you to leave feeling inspired to walk in what your creative zhuzh is and to tap into your allure so that you could possibly inspire somebody else because we're all here for a purpose and for a reason. And a lot of people don't even know what that is. Like things are feeling very heavy emotionally for people right now. And one way to really get out of that funk is to just tap into who you are and who you are meant to be. So that's kind of like the purpose for me and why I do what I do.
And also, I wanted to add, you 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 basically have been inspired by your dad, right? With the business.
Yes.
Can you explain a little
Mhm.
bit more about that? Because that's a big part in that purpose.
Yes. Yes. So one thing, growing up, like I had a real tough relationship with my father, but then as I got older, it kind of got a little better, but not too much. But when I started getting into my art, that was in 2017, I started telling him about what I was doing, and then he actually came to one of my art shows. So I felt really proud, like, wow, like, okay, he's recognizing who I am and a big part of me. And when I started drafting the idea for opening the studio, I spoke to him about my idea, and he was very, I thought he was going to tell me, like, don't even think about it. Like, that's crazy. But he wanted to see the space. And when he came, he thought it was really doable and helped me to get everything situated. And I was able to open, and he was very helpful. Like he would find random things. He's an old West Indian man. So he would find random things on the street. I found an old refrigerator, brought it here, like helped me. I know he renovated it in a week, him and my brother-in-law. And that was April 2019. And then he actually passed away in November of 2019. And it was very sudden. I was actually here at the studio, like teaching a class while he was in the hospital, and I didn't even know. Right by the fire hydrants. But I didn't even know that he was um gone. By the time I got to the hospital, he was already gone. And that situation was that was the first time somebody in my immediate family had passed away. And because it was so sudden, it really hit me hard. And I don't have any brothers. He was really like the only man in my life. But one thing that when you lose somebody, I can't speak for everyone, but I know for me, it really like put a battery in my back where I felt like, okay, I need to have his legacy live on through me. Now my responsibility to make this happen is even bigger. It's even beyond me because he saw something in me that he could have said no. And my whole trajectory of what I would be doing would be completely different. But because he believed in me and he helped me throughout the way, I had to take that. That's my biggest motivation of what I do and why I do it, because I know that, you know, without his help, it really wouldn't have happened. And it's weird when you start picturing your parent as your ancestor, but I knew that, you know, that was something that I had to keep his legacy going just by showing up, just by continuing. Because there's a lot of times where I'll be like, I don't even want to do this no more. I'm about to go back to teaching. Like, this is a lot. And then I'll just see that I did a painting of him the day that he was cremated. I did it's like a painting of a picture of me and him when I was little. And I keep that right in the main area of the studio. Every time when I'm like, this shit is crazy, then I'm like, you know what, looking at it, and it just helps me to keep going. So yeah, he's like my motivator. And I just, you know, I hope that also inspires people who have lost someone to really think about how you keep that legacy going beyond your time and theirs.
Yes, that is beautiful, and you're doing a great job. I could tell, I could sense it, because a lot of times when we lose someone, it kind of knocks us off our path because you know, we get depressed and whatnot. But
Mm-hmm.
you gotta channel that fuel into fire and turn that pain into
Yeah.
power. And that's what I see in you every time I walk by that shop, and I see you put, you know, the information about you and about your dad and everything about the shop. Because I'm like, was your father like I'm like, was he like a big you know, like a main cat, or like a main person that was like well known? And then, you know, just to hear that story, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's her father, and that's the reason why this is here. And that's powerful. Like, that's a big spiritual power that is, you know,
Yeah.
he created you, he gave you life, you understand? And it's like you are helping bring life into a whole community through him and through you choosing to continue. You could have chose not to, like you said, he could have chose not to, you could have chose not to go on, like you
Right.
said. So
Mm-hmm.
just that whole, and I hope that, you know, things like this, and, you know, the people that you affect and touch, that we remind you that you are a bright light in our lives as well. You are helping to touch other people. You know what I mean? So it's like you're, and the kids too, like you really, ooh, is this a lot?
Yes.
Like, you are helping us as parents, but with all these obstacles put in our way and their way, it's not fair to them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you help opening a whole nother gateway through your ancestors. That's beautiful.
Thank you so much.
That takes a lot of strength to get through situations like that and just turn around and just say, you know, let me just transform this energy and, you know, use it for something great. Let me use it to be creative. Let me use it to inspire others and stuff. And I actually like the concept behind the meaning of allure and how you use it and utilize it like that. It's like it's almost like a superpower a little bit, because it's like you
Yeah.
take it and be like, you know what,
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be my purpose to make y'all fulfill y'all purpose. And then what I realized about that is that having purpose is not just one thing. Purpose is like universal. You know what I mean? That's just one of your purposes. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you got many. You just
Right.
know like that's one of them that you could identify. Like, yo, to make other people have something circumstantial in their life and be creative with it. Could be one of your purposes, but you got many.
Yes, yes, of course. Because I'm ultimately, your purpose is how you help people, right? Like a lot of us feel like, I guess it can be some confusion around what that means or what that is, but like your purpose should really be like, what is the reason you're here and how can you help people? What are your skills that you've gained from your different work experiences or life experiences? Or skills that you just have that you didn't have to go to school for, that's just placed within you. How can you use those things to bring about change and impact other people in a bigger way? And if it's through like emotionally, if it's a physical change, if it's whatever it is, it's like, but something has to take way, something has to impact, something has to shake and rattle in what you're doing. And I think that's the biggest part too, in terms of finding a business lane to go into. A lot of people choose a business lane just because it's easy or because of the money. But it's like when you're doing it for impact, when you realize that you're doing whatever you're doing for impact and it has a greater impact and how it changes people's lives or changes the way that people do things, that is attached to your purpose, because why else would you be here?
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's why I see you are like one of the many businesses that prosper because you're doing it like genuinely. Like it's not even about the money. Of course, you have to, replace your, your stock and invest into
Mm-hmm.
your appliances and your business. But it's like the reason you're doing it, is so it's genuine. That's all I can say. It's very genuine. It's not like, I'm gonna just do this because I know I'm gonna get mad money. No, you're doing it because you actually
Right.
helping
Mm-mm.
a lot of kids. And yeah, it come with money, but that's it, what your
Hmm.
time costs. Your time costs.
Yeah.
Your art costs. Your art.
Hmm.
Your services cost. So it's like,
Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
it's reasonable. It's not like you charging people an arm and a leg. You're actually decent right now in these times with the prices. So it's
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
come on, everybody, calm down to Queens because it's lit, and a lot of people don't even know that you have. You know what I'm saying? Don't even know it's a real art studio in Queens. I'll be telling them. I'll be like, yo, they be like, what? I'm like, yes, it's right here.
Seriously, it's really
Yeah.
a thing
Yeah.
because like we always going to like Brooklyn, like not now because I'm
Hmm.
talking about like before the pandemic. We always going to
Hmm.
Brooklyn to go to our show for anything, whether it was an art showcase or somebody performing at an art spot or whatever it was. It was always in Brooklyn or something like that. So I'm glad
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that you did that.
Thank you. It's not easy, and it's definitely, it can't be all about the money, because the money is alright, but it ain't like, I'm boiling out of control.
Right.
It's definitely it's definitely helpful. And I think once you realize that you're getting paid in like conversations like this, like, everybody needs to hear that sometimes. And even just
Yeah.
being here and talking to you, is helping, that like that's paying it forward for me. Like that is a form of payment for me to keep going. So you're not always going to get the money. Sometimes it may be the recognition or it may be the acknowledgement so that you could continue to do what you're doing. So I appreciate y'all.
Yes. You're always welcome. And it works both ways. It's exchange, it's exchange of energy.
Hmm.
I just thank you for taking out your time on the of the day with us. It's an hour, and I appreciate that because other people, you know what I mean? They're different. And so I just want people to know that you're genuine. You are genuine. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm gonna go on to the next question. Okay, what are some of the most exciting things for you about having art shows and why?
So I get really excited when there's a theme attached to it, because I don't know, I always like themed things. Like if it's like, oh, everybody uh is tied to this one thing. Like when I had a classroom, um And I would tell them like, okay, Friday we all get to wear red, or today we get to wear pink, or whatever. It's like a unifying thing. So I like to build community by having a theme that everybody sticks to. Even like the last art show we did was called Fall into Fashion, and that was all about fashion, the ties between fashion and art, and how art and fashion are connected. And we told everybody, to come in their best fit. And we even gave a raffle away to the person that had the best fit. So that was exciting to me. And then I love to see different artists, especially when it's the Queens artists, because I'm all about big Queens. So when we see people from Queens that get to come out and they tell us, yo, this is my first time ever being in a showcase. This is my first time showing my art to the world. And it takes me back to the first time I was in an art show and how I denied being an artist for so long because I didn't feel like my art was good enough to be considered an artist. And when I finally did acknowledge that and introduce myself to people as an artist, that's when so many doors opened up for me. So I get excited to think about how things will just, I get excited thinking about how I'm a stepping stone, how Allure is a stepping stone for these artists and what they're about to do in the future, because them taking that step of signing up, getting their art up here. And even if they don't sell any pieces, but the fact that people come, because we have open exhibition hours twice a week, so people could come and check out their work, and they follow them, they tag them, all of that. Like it's gonna kind of get the ball rolling. So that's always exciting to me, just putting people on to see what else they come up with.
That's amazing.
I said, best believe you starting a fire, because once the one thing about Queens is once they see one person do it, once we see one person do it, it's automatically like, okay, I'm
Mm-hmm.
inspired now. It's just like that's
Mm-hmm.
just how I go. I'm inspired now. Next thing you
Mm-hmm.
know, it's just gonna be more creators. More creators. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
all I know is people
Definitely.
can't forget who started it. People can't forget who started. That's
Yep.
why we doing stuff like this. So make sure people know we calling it right now.
Right.
Let you know who started it.
Yep. Amy Allure.
Definitely. Definitely.
Okay, you can move on to the next question, design.
Okay, the next question is actually on the topic of Queens.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
As a creator for a new demand of art and creativity in Queens, how does it feel to be a young pioneer in the art world?
I mean, it feels really awesome. It's dynamic. I love Queens. I I was born in Brooklyn, but I'm raised in Queens from 5. So that's all I know. And all my schooling has been in Queens, even college. So I'm really big on making an impact in Queens, and I love just how we keep it so cultural here. It's not too gentrified and all of that. Yeah, it's like very just very kinfolk, very homegrown over here. So I like it a lot. And I love the idea of people just associating like a dope art space with Queens over here. I am working on, just getting the name out there more, and letting people know that this is something really big in Queens, and it's something that everybody should get a taste of. But it's definitely a process. I've been here 3 years and it feels like longer. And people still tell me, oh my gosh, I never knew this was here. I never knew this was here. And it's like, listen, I don't know. I'm trying as much as I can, but it's the art shows and doing different like events with nonprofit organizations, all of those really help us to just spread the word of what we do. So it feels good. I'm excited to bring this to Queens, and I knew that it was something that we needed. And even to know that there's a few other spaces now that are starting to open up, it's really cool to just see everything just start to evolve.
Yes.
Yeah,
That is
that's
amazing.
yeah, definitely amazing. That's really good. It's
Yeah.
just good to hear. It's refreshing. It's honestly
It
refreshing.
really is.
We creatives, so we surf the whole New York City, creating, performing, and going from
Mm-hmm.
show to show, and we performed everywhere. So seeing this is just like just seeing somebody so passionate about it is really good.
That makes it even more meaningful, just to see that you really are about art. You know what I mean? You are the definition of art.
Yes, I love me some art.
Okay, so I'm gonna go into the next question is, how did the pandemic specifically make you grow, and what are some things you learned going through a pandemic being a business?
So that, of course, was just a tumultuous, crazy time, just like for everybody. I was pretty much just about to hit a year of being here. So we were lit up before the pandemic. And then once everything happened, I had to shut down for a few months. I shut down from like April till about August. And then after that, it was such a demand for people to do like artsy things. So I opened back up like before we would have a max of 50 people in here, and then it went down to the max was 10. And so that was just a drastic change in terms of profitability. It made a huge difference. And also I started up my own like accessories line, which was on my website. I had to get creative because I couldn't have the service-based business for some time. So I decided to make products that have my art on different accessory items like makeup bags or pillows or different pouches or so many different items, even candles, mugs, things like that. So that helped me out a lot during the pandemic because people are really excited about the art pieces. Even I would have like sweatshirts, so those sold really well. And then I had to teach myself how to do virtual events, and I started doing virtual paint and sips on Zoom. And I never really liked them because I'm really big on feeling everybody's energy like in real life, but I had to make do with that. And I really think that the pandemic is not over. So it still affects what we do and how we do it, even here. Like, I can never go back to up to 50 people in here now. Um, it really changed it. But one thing the pandemic did do that was good, it really pushed people back home in order to tap into their creativity. And they realized how much is really therapy, and that is a place for you to art is a place for you to not feel judged, to not feel like it's right or wrong. And your creative space is really just you. It's you at your like expressing your heart and soul on a canvas or in a song or in the kitchen, whatever's your creative way of making things happen. That's you, and nobody could take that from you. So I feel like the pandemic for me definitely helped. I liked to see how it just pulled out so many businesses that even bloomed from people being in the pandemic. So I think it was a learning process for all of us, and it still is now. But thankfully, we're resilient people, and we're able to maneuver and be versatile and try different things in order to stay afloat. So I had to try a few things, and thankfully, they worked because even when when they started doing outdoor dining, then I started reaching out to different spaces and telling them, hey, I'll bring all the art supplies to your spot and we could do an outdoor paint and sit. And so that ended up working out really well. And it became something that I kept. All these things that I tapped into and tried out during the height of the pandemic, I still have now. I still have my products. I still have my mobile paintings that I do, and I still do virtual every now and then. But all it did was really expand my brand. It really just pushed me into different places. I felt very uncomfortable, but then it became like, okay, now I know how to do this. Hey, now I'm add this to my resume that this is a part of the service list at Allure. So it really helped.
Right, it propelled you. You still got the paint and sip. You even you doing couples therapy. Like you really tapping into tapping into a whole nother, you know what I'm saying? A whole nother realm of things. Like you just doing everything. It's like nothing can
Yes.
stop you. That's like the best part, that you use
Yes.
that and it just propelled you forward like a rubber band, like bing.
Yes, I still feel it. I feel the rubber band. I'll be like, let me just try this out, try this. And it's, it's taking little risks. You see what works, you see what doesn't, but you have to just try it. And that's it.
Right, you got to be uncomfortable. You have to.
Hmm.
The thing that I like out of everything I'm hearing is that you didn't make one excuse through the whole thing, like through your whole statement. You didn't make no excuse. You were just like, oh,
Right.
something happened. I had to switch up the plan. I had to switch up the programming. I had to adjust it. I had to do this. Oh, this didn't work. I had to try this other thing. Like you just kept coming up with different ideas. I love that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've always been like a super creative person. My brain is always thinking of like what else I could do, was something different, and I think that's why I love pulling that out of other people. And so it's good to have those ideas, and it could get exhausting, honestly. When you have a lot on your mind, you're here like having all these different ideas, it can definitely get exhausting, and you can get a little overwhelmed. I think what helps me is to just really listen to what people need, listen to what the community asks for. Like, as much as I hated thinking about doing a virtual event, I never wanted to do that. But people kept asking me for it. And I'm like, you know what? All right, I'm going to try it. And then it ended up working. So it's not always, what you may want to do, but it's really what the community tells you. Or like if you put out some different polls or put out different questionnaires for the community or for whoever's your target audience, ask them what they would like to see. What do they need help with? And that really helps me to navigate and know how to maneuver. I even with the couples events or with kids classes, those are all from people walking in here saying like, "Hey, do you do kids class?" I'm like, "Well, I haven't, but I could." Or, "Do you do one-on-one classes, like one-on-one art class?" I'm like, "I haven't, but I could put it on the site and make it work." And literally, that's how things just continue to go. You have to be able to just do what people need.
Yeah, I think if anything, it sounds like you show people how much it fulfills them to be creative and how much it helps us. Like, because when you're sitting around and
Hmm.
you're just thinking and you probably start messing around, start to get depressed if you're really sitting there thinking too much. But if you're being creative,
Yeah.
you're not gonna do that. You're just gonna draw something. You may draw something a little dark, or you may draw something that's a little depressing, express it, but you're getting it out of you a little bit. So that's I'd rather see you
Hmm.
draw something that looks a little sad, like a dead flower or something or whatever, something like that, just to show something in your life, than be sitting there thinking about dead flowers and thinking about something negative that resembles it.
Right. And I really want people to understand that, like I said before, creativity looks so different for so many people. And it can be as basic as doing a drawing or as intricate as like doing the decor in your home. All of that is creative energy. Like putting things together, putting together a dope outfit, editing a video, putting a nice makeup look, making some bomb mac and cheese. All of that stuff takes creativity, like to try something new. So yes, art. We think about visual art, but there's many different types of art, and we all have a creative bone in our body in some type of way. I hate hearing when people are like, "Oh, I'm not an artist. I'm not an artist. I don't want to paint. I don't want to do this." And I'm like, you are an artist. Maybe you never painted before, but you do have creative energy in your body. So just tap into that and you'll be fine. And then they're like, all right. And then their piece comes out looking better than everybody else's. I'm like, see, we just talk so much shit about ourselves so much. People talk down about what they can do and what they can't do, but you really just got to try stuff out.
That's another thing too. That language is something else. That language is something else. And I know
Hmm.
exactly what you mean because I make music and I'm an audio engineer. So as a person that's digitally like editing the song and putting different effects on it and like giving it the sound, and also doing recording sometimes myself, it's also like, yo, I could see like I'm painting a picture. Like I could really vividly see I'm painting a picture as far as like the editing and stuff like that. So yeah, like, and I do digital drawing and stuff like that. So I already know, like, I'm deep into it. Like when it comes down to create, how much important creativity is. It's very important. That's
Yeah,
why
once you do,
yeah.
that's why in hospitals and stuff like that, they got little centers and stuff like that with art for the whether
That's
it's older
right.
people or younger, they got all that art and stuff like that because they want them to express some of that, put that creativity on paper or whatever, and just do something with their time and their energy for a second.
Right.
And it's stress relieving, and I think that the pandemic like forced us to bring all of that out. You know, we had it suppressed and we spoke so much negativity into ourselves daily. And it was like, wow, we at the bottom of the bottom right now. Yeah, we all that negative stuff we were speaking, now we here. And it's like, okay, what you gonna do now? What are you gonna do now? So it was like it forced us. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow. I know that y'all had super fun doing that street. Y'all tore that street up. That Black Lives Matter portrait.
Oh,
I knew.
yes.
So I see your name all over it. I was like, who did this? Who did this? It's so beautiful.
Yeah, that was
I know y'all had fun
definitely
doing that.
yeah, it was, I mean, to be honest, it was tough. It was tough. Not just the physical conditions, because it was a hot, hot day, but also that was at a time where a lot of people either loved the idea of the Black Lives Matter murals, and a lot of people were kind of like, what's the point of this? And they literally were coming up to us while we were painting the mural and saying all types of negative stuff to us, like, or asking questions like, why y'all doing this? How's this going to help anything? And, you know, we had to figure out what to say in those moments, but it was a lot of people that we were expecting more positive vibes from it, but definitely not. I was definitely taken aback by how many people had a problem, and we just had to explain to them, you know, that activism looks different in everybody's essence of who they are. And if we feel like we are artists and we want to channel our art into activism and make a statement that when whoever walks past this is going to see that, whoever drives over this is going to see that, then I would rather have that impact than just painting a pretty picture of a flower and that's it. Like, your art is activism. And even if you don't believe, this is not going to like completely stop everything from happening, but I'm channeling my gifts into being a part of the movement in a way that I can. And so that really was, you know, the most exciting part, but it was definitely like a hot mess the way people were coming. Hey, Jamaica Avenue.
Yeah.
Right.
I think people just take it too seriously. Like, I think people take certain things too seriously. But I know that they're probably looking at it like, yo, oh, you know, the financial things that's going on with Black Lives Matter and this and that and this and everything like that. Like, we get that, but if that's not the conversation right now, we're talking about something else, then just take it for what it is.
Right. Yeah, because it's like, you know, you don't even know, like, people be just so judgmental. You don't know this person. You don't know why they're doing this. Like, okay, why don't you, like, okay, ask, right? Ask, but there's the way you ask. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I did see that a lot of people had, were passionately aggressive. Like, you know, like not passive, passionately aggressive. And they were just like attacking people that were painting the street at that time. I'm just grateful they didn't attack you all. But you know, Queens is different. You're not about to be attacking us. You saw how the cops was bound down to us. You're not doing that. But you know, I was just like, yo, that's dope. Even though, okay, this is a certain entity, a separate entity that has different motives. This person that's an artist doesn't have that same motive. You don't know everybody. You know what I'm saying? You don't know everybody's motives, so don't be so quick to judge. Actually, your mural is historic. You did something historic. Like, nobody gets permission to paint the street. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's like when you see something like that, think of the deeper meaning, not the physical. Oh my gosh, this group is so this and
Mhm.
that. You know what I mean? No, think of it like you said. Everybody has a different aspect and vision
Mhm. Mhm.
on things. So it's like I commend you for even putting, going through that and still going through with that. You could have just stopped in the middle of the BLA. See, and like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm
You
done.
know what? I'm done. For real, it was definitely like wow. But and it took a few days. It took quite a few days. Um, but I'm happy that I was a part of that, and that definitely put a stamp on just the art activism and Queens movement. So good to
Mhm.
see.
And shout out to Devore Dance Center, my dance school, my daughter's dance school, my mother's gym teacher. Like Miss Devore, she's like a mother and second mother, and she's always
Mm-hmm.
been supportive from day one. She was my dean as well in my high school. Like 3 generations. Miss Devore is beautiful, and she, shout
Mm-hmm.
out to all the dancers, all my friends in Devore that was with y'all during that. Is a big that was a big
Mm-hmm.
that was a big historic moment. Everybody has their
Yeah.
own way of doing art, and we've been dancing since we were kids, expressing our
Mm-hmm.
art, and now we're all grown into different artists. So shout outs to Mr. Boy for that.
Yes, Mr. Vore.
um, let's see where we at. Where we at? Is that you're the next question, design, right?
Okay, so how does it feel to be a good influence for the kids? And explain how some of your paint therapy sessions go.
Okay, so I love the kids. I always have. I've always worked with kids from when I was a teen. So I really feel like I'm like a kid whisperer. Like I know how to talk to them, I know how to calm them down, and I love, like I said, building their confidence. And I think art is just such a dope space for everyone to feel successful, especially kids. And I see it a lot because I know as a teacher, when I was actually in the classroom, it was hard to have those kids that are really good kids, but they weren't good at math, or they're not the best reader, or they're not the best at being well behaved. And they never really felt like they got those accolades. And here, whenever they're doing their art classes, it's really a refreshing space for them and a safe space for them, where even the boy that may have the worst anger issues can produce something that he's never heard anybody say like, wow, like this is amazing, like you did such a great job. And so as an educator and teacher, and being able to blend that with my artistry, it's been a blessing to see. And I try to come up with different different things for them to learn. I'm really big on teaching them about being an entrepreneur. So right now I have a young entrepreneur creative arts program, and this program is has classes around photography, painting, drawing, digital art, entrepreneurship, spoken word, and even just empowerment. And they not only get to learn new skills, but they also get to bridge the gap between being an artist and being an entrepreneur. Because I know growing up, being an artist wasn't even thought of as a possible career choice. I never even could name Black artists. We all would just hear Picasso and Van Gogh, and that's it.